What's up, everybody? No, I'm kidding. I'm not. We're all good. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of Teeing It Up with C&B. I'm C for Connor. I'm here with Vladi today for episode 2 coming at you here for this week. Lots to talk about, Vladi. First off, how you doing, bud?
I'm good. Finished the first week on the job. Kind of get my feet wet with all the different projects that we're working on. It's kind of been a little bit tedious in terms of getting clearance to certain things. So has been a lot of downtime, but I'm hoping the stuff that I have done has been super interesting. So I'm hoping to kind of get really into it. What about you? Man. Anything new in life?
No, man. Continuing the job. Just doing some sports writing where you guys could check out on our Twitter or my personal Twitter. I'm always posting when I'm writing. Check me out. Quick plug there, not a big deal. Anyways, no, other than that, man, I just golf. I golfed twice this weekend. I golfed with you Sunday, of course. Working a 9 to 5. I mean, granted, like last year I was playing 3-4 days a week because I had nothing else to do. I had just online classes, but having that 9 to 5 where you like, I'll play Sunday and then I won't pick up a club till Saturday or Sunday. It's just my game is just so stagnant. Like I had a good 9 on the front you saw, and then lo and behold, we got the cold shanks. I probably had 3 or 4 just absolute cold shanks on the back. So the game's just going.
The consistency gets tough sometimes.
Right. No. But that's the life of a double-digit handicap living
exactly.
Life. So, speaking of golf, well, let's start off there. One of the 4 majors. Obviously, we did a bit of a preview. I believe you picked Spieth.
I had Rory,
which was a good bet.
And yeah, I mean, after the first 2 days, it looked good. The driver was working.
Right.
The wedges were all right. And then day 3 hit, he fell off a cliff. And then
his fourth.
Yeah. And then as the saying goes, there's never a more dangerous golfer than an out of contention Rory McIlroy on a Sunday.
He went -3 to go from, I believe, 19th all the way up to 8th is what he finished. Anyways, the big storyline, obviously, Justin Thomas gets his second major. It's his second PGA as well. He won in 2017. He beat Will Zalatoris in a 3-hole playoff. Pretty interesting what they did there. I don't know if you watched it. They had the easiest, the second easiest, and then the hardest hole are what they played. And then Justin Thomas went -2 and 3 holes, basically gave Zalatoris no shot, who was fine.
Yeah, that was it the tee shot on 17 where he drove the green?
Yes, he drove the green.
Yeah, that was an incredible shot. And I mean, that kind of one Zalatoris fell a stroke behind. It just turned into kind of survival mode for JT. And
right. And he on that first hole of the playoff, I believe it was 13, he was in the rough, had to lay up. Zalatoris is on the green in 2. It's a gettable par 5. And Zalatoris looks like he's going to birdie. What does JT do? He's got about an 80-yard wedge shot in. He sticks it to about like 6 feet, makes the putt, goes up and down from 80 yards out. And I think that just kind of shell shocks Zalatoris. The bigger story was the leader by, I believe, 3 strokes going to the day, Mita Pereira. I believe that's how you say it. He's a Canadian player who was on the Corn Ferry Tour as early as last season. I believe this is his first year on the tour. He's a younger guy. 3 strokes, a 1-stroke lead going into the 18th tee, and you saw it on the broadcast, just this quick, awkward swing. It looked like he was trying to nonchalant. It was almost like you're trying not to overthink, while that trying not to overthink is more overthinking. Puts it in the water. Has an impossible approach shot from there too. Doesn't hit the green. Chips over. Double bogeys. Does not even make the playoff. Vladi, all-time choke job.
Yeah. It was kind of tough seeing the implosion. I feel like kind of as the underdog, there might have been some people rooting for him and kind of hoping that the pressure wouldn't get to him, but it did. Looking back at it, obviously the hindsight's 2020, but he probably doesn't go driver off the tee. He goes for a safer 3-wood. And then I don't know how technical it was, but when he was playing his chip shot out of the rough around the green, I think the announcers mentioned that he did not ever go to check the other side of the green. And you could kind of see that with his preparation. His chip ended up rolling off the back of the green, and he left himself with a miraculous chance just to even get to the playoff. So, like you said, all-time implosion. It's tough to see, but I was happy that at the end of all of that, instead of running to hide in the locker room, he was available. He took all the press conferences, and he kind of sat there and lived his life, I guess.
So I was gonna mention that. What a I don't want to say classless, but what are we doing, Steve? Sticking at this poor guy just lost out on millions of dollars. He's a young kid, just got on the tour, and we're gonna stick a microphone right in his face after he just blew millions of dollars in a shot at a major that he may never get again. And you're right, he was an all-time class act, admitted his defeat in rather proper fashion.
Yeah.
So congrats to Justin Thomas. That was the golf. We probably won't mention golf again until the U.S. Open in about a month. So that's your golf talk for the next month. The hockey. So we moved on. The last time we chatted was kind of the in-between day for actually both the NBA and the NHL. For the NHL, from the first to the second round. So starting off, which series do I want to talk about first? We'll start with the Rangers and the Hurricanes. So last night, the Rangers got their first in the series. They beat the Canes 3-1. They are down 2-1 in the series. Some kind of quick notes. Artemi Panarin, arguably a top 10 player in the league for the Rangers, has been somewhat of a ghost in this series. And to be honest, throughout the playoffs, he had the one overtime winner against Pittsburgh, but outside of that has been extremely quiet. I assume he's injured. In hockey, you're never going to you don't hear about these things till they're out. But usually when a guy of his caliber is performing just piss poor, buddy. I mean, piss poor. It's due to an injury. Deeper. I'd argue, they didn't even play a bad game yesterday. It was more Igor Shesterkin was the Vezina winning candidate that we saw in the regular season. He was mediocre in the first round. He's been great in this series. All these games, I believe it was 2-1 the first game, 2-0 the second game, and 3-1. So these are all low scoring, kind of your typical playoff game per se. Obviously this year has been a little more high scoring than in past years, but that's a typical series for the playoffs. I think the Canes pull this out. I know they're now they go to the Garden again tomorrow. 0-4 for the playoffs at home. That is a storyline to go into it. I don't think they necessarily played poorly on Sunday. They're just deeper. They're getting scoring down the lineup. The Rangers' best line has been their third line, the kid line. The Stars have been inconsistent in New York, and I don't see how they can win the series doing that. So that's all I have for that one.
Mm-hmm.
And next, let's do probably the best hockey that we've seen in the second round is the Colorado Avalanche and the St. Louis Blues. The Avs lead that series 2-1. They're going to play tonight. I believe that's a 9:30 start time. So the Avs won game one, kind of dominated. Game two, the Blues came out, looked like a totally different team. They dominated. And then Saturday night was a back and forth great hockey game. Colorado did end up pulling away late. But there was some storylines in that one. And Nazem Kadri for the Colorado Avalanche, he notoriously plays on the edge, a Brad Marchand type player. For the casual hockey watcher type player, was suspended for the entire series last year against St. Louis for a dirty hit, and I believe game one of the series. So there's some bad blood and some history there. He mid to late first period Saturday night runs into the goalie. He's pushed by the St. Louis defender, and while not an egregious play, there's definitely some questions as to his history. Binnington went down. I think Binnington's a bit of a clown. He's a bit of he's like the guy that will throw his stick at the other team and is has gotten pulled and squirts water on the other team as he's getting pulled from a game that he just let up 17 goals in. He gets hurt. He's been great this series, this playoffs. That was kind of the deciding fact. They were down 1-0 at the time, or up. St. Louis was up at the time, but they ended up coming back and losing. He gets hurt. That's a huge storyline. After the game, the St. Louis coach said, given his reputation, it's a dirty play and he should be suspended. And the Colorado coach is basically like, how do you call anything on reputation? Why should that matter? I mean, both are right in their own sense, but it's going to be a great storyline. So on the broadcast after the game, they're interviewing Kadri. And as they ask him the question, I believe he's somewhere like behind the benches under the rink. He gets Jordan Binnington, the goalie, he hurt, threw a water bottle at him mid-interview. Like, hockey players are they're so uptight and have to give the right answer all the time. I love them for it, but God, it makes the game sandpaper, boring sometimes. But holy crap, that is a storyline. We got goaltenders throwing water bottles at players after games. This is full on. I don't even know. This is just like the NBA, I guess, at this point. But yeah, so that's a good storyline. Colorado, these are arguably probably the two best teams, I think, left in my opinion. I do think Colorado pulls that out. With Binnington is now out for the series. Sam Girard went out on a questionable hit also, I thought was clean by Buchnevich. One of the better defensemen on the Colorado team. He broke his sternum, Vladi. That's got to be one of the most painful. Your sternum is this chest, is like the main chest muscle.
This hurts just thinking about it.
That's what I said.
Too.
Like I took it, yeah. I mean, not to get all anatomic on you. Is that how you would say anatomy? Anatomic,
I guess. I'm not sure.
But yeah, I know my bones is my point. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I when I saw that, I was like just thinking about taking a deep breath, like after like going, oh, sternum, and taking a deep breath, and you're like, whoa, that would not be fun. So that's 2-1. Another series that is 2-1 in a somewhat of, at least I think, surprising is Edmonton leads Calgary 2-1 in the Battle of Alberta. Connor McDavid, Vladdy, this guy does the hockey.
He's McJesus.
He's our Lord and Savior of this sport. 9 points in the first 3 games. He's been spectacular. He's basically, so they got him and Draisaitl on the same line. They don't normally play. Draisaitl is probably a top 5 player in the league also. They're on the same team. The rest of the team stinks. They also signed the bad boy of hockey, this guy that he went bankrupt and basically like told his entire team to F off.
Oh, is it Dano Chara?
No. Evander Kane. This guy is an absolute clown. He's been great. He scored a hat trick yesterday. He's on the Connor McDavid and Draisaitl line right now. Dude, he's just getting tapped. This guy went bankrupt and no team wanting his BS to just getting tap-ins, and I believe he's got like 5 goals in the series. Just getting
makes life easier.
Oh yeah. Calgary has played. There's been a lot of BS in this series, and Calgary just seems to be kind of caught up in the shit talking instead of the actual playing right now. They're not playing their game. They're one of the best 5-on-5 teams. They have no rhythm right now. Lots of stupid penalties. We got Matthew Tkachuk, more worried about telling Evander Kane how he makes more money than him and he's going to give him his money. Do you need more money? I hear you're bankrupt. How about I give you some of my money then actually play the freaking game? Okay, Matthew, I know we got his brother gassing beers in the stands. His brother, the Kachucks, the dad's a famous player too. The brother is our age. He's 99. He plays for Ottawa. I mean, they stink. He's also a really good player. He's just in the stands gassing beers. He's got like little kids on his back, like in the stands getting the Calgary guys crazy. It's pretty funny, actually. Yeah, they have not looked like themselves. I mean, I'm going to say Edmonton closes this out. I think Calgary just has no identity. And if they find their identity the way that they played in the regular season, they're a much better team than Edmonton. But I don't know. It's hard to do that game to game in the playoffs. So, I'm sticking with Edmonton. So the last series, who am I missing? Oh, the game going on right now. The Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers is the only series that's not 2-1. It's 3-0 Tampa, and frankly, Florida came out great in the first period. The game's going on right now. It's first intermission. But oh my God, this team has, again, we make all these moves, all these high payroll moves, and we have the best power play in hockey in the regular season. We're the best team throughout the year, and we get to the playoffs, and I believe they're 1 for 27 on the power play right now. That can't happen. You're not going to win games 1 through 27, especially come playoff time. Your special teams have to be great. The Tampa Bay is also one of the best power plays in the league, and they've played like it. That's been the main difference. Kucherov, he had the flu late in the Toronto series and was kind of disinterested. I said he looked disinterested on the last podcast, I think. Turns out he had the flu. He was playing through the flu. Shout out Michael Jordan. But he's looked great, especially the last 2 games. So when the Stars are flying for Tampa, they just look like a team. They just know how to win. They've been so deep so many years now that it's like they're not rattled by any situation. They know what to do when this happens. They know what to do when that happens. And they just look like they're not nearly as talented as the past Cup teams, but they're just so hard to play against and so tested and ready. And they'll roll that series. If they don't win tonight.
I think we talked about it when we golfed on Sunday, but the experience in the playoffs is massive. When you have a younger team going out there, some jitters, maybe the adrenaline's hitting them a little bit differently, and you start out slow, you're missing passes you don't normally miss. There's just some sloppy play, and like you said, when you have all that experience, that I agree. I think Tampa Bay's the wagon, as you would say. And then also with that series, didn't I see the Florida Panthers players going out to a club last night?
Yeah, so there's reports came out today that they were clubbing last night, which is crazy because they came out and in the first period they outshot Tampa 17-3. They absolutely dominated them. So hey, I mean, whatever gets you going, I guess. But yeah. Hey, whatever. When you're down 3-0, you got to do whatever it takes. If that's going to a strip club.
Hey, I can say maybe just they needed to get the vibes right. And if we're gonna go back to golf, I feel like I play my best golf when the vibes are great. So right. I guess if it helps them, it helps them. If not, they'll have a lot more time for this because they won't be playing a lot more hockey.
Exactly. All right, moving on to the fraudulent NBA.
Oh, fraudulent NBA. Okay. Sorry, all 30 people in the United States that watched the NHL games this weekend had a real blast.
We'll start off with the game not going on tonight, or the series. The Golden State Warriors currently lead the Dallas Mavericks 3-0 in the series. Looks like Dallas has no answer. Luka Doncic wants to drink beers before the game instead of actually play them. Thoughts on this one?
So I think this is just one of those. Golden State is clearly the better team. Right. You've got Luka getting no help from the role players, and while that might not be enough to make it a series, I think if you have players like Reggie Bullock not shooting over infinity like he just did in the last game, if you have Davis Bertans not being afraid to shoot the ball, if you have Maxi Kleber not hitting the rim every time he does shoot the ball, I think you can make the games a lot closer. Maybe you put yourself in position for Golden State mistake, and maybe you get to steal a game or two, but I kind of joked with my friends. This was a Warriors in 4 series long ago, and I said it as a joke. I thought maybe Dallas could steal a game or two, but it does look like Dallas' season ends at the latest game 5 when they're back in Golden State. Other than that, I do want to talk about Golden State because that offense can only be stopped by themselves. I think the only thing that they can beat they can stop Golden State's offense is missed shots and how they like to get careless with their turnovers. The movement off the ball is just too much. You've got off-ball screeners with Draymond and Kevon Looney. Then they cut to the basket, and sometimes teams are so focused on Clay, Poole, or Steph that they forget about Draymond or Looney, and it's just a bunny there with no one around him in the paint. Other than that, you've got Wiggins kind of playing like the all-star that he was this year. Poole's continuing his rise. Obviously, right. Stephen Clay, and the defense as well. People like to talk about Golden State as this offensive team, but you've got Draymond Green, who's a all defensive first team anytime he plays more than 50 games in a season. Wiggins has played very well. Kevon Looney's played very well. He's playing pretty good defense, kind of post injuries, but I just think the Golden State Warriors win the title. I don't see what else there is for them.
Yeah, I agree. And it's back to that dominating team that they had 2, 3, 4 years ago. And maybe it's not the Kevin Durant's, but it's the combinations of how much depth and how many options they have now. Like even when you said Steph and Clay are off, like Andrew Wiggins can have a night. Jordan Poole can have a night. Like they have so many different options. Of the depth is something that they haven't had since those teams that were so dominant. It was almost, this team reminds me kind of the team prior to Kevin Durant, the team that had the best record. And they were just so well, like the players around Stephen Clay were just complimented them.
Yeah,
so
they knew their role, they played it, and God, are they fun to watch. That they're an absolute powder keg. They'll give you 12 points within a minute at any given point of the game, and I think that's insane.
Mm-hmm. But the Mavericks, my only note on the Mavericks, man, like you said, just not enough depth. It just feels like Luka has to have his hands on the ball the entire game.
So to the next series, Boston, Miami. I guess my takeaways from this so far have been, it almost kind of looks to be a battle of who's healthier. You've had Robert Williams miss games, Marcus Smart miss games, Al Horford miss games, Jason Tatum went down at the end of last game, Jimmy Butler didn't play the second half of last game, Kyle Lowry I think's missed some time. And so I think this is just going to be one of those dog fights where whoever can finish the series with more of their players not hurt will probably win the series. However, I do think that if at full strength, I think Boston's a better team.
I'd agree, and that was exactly what I was going to say. And that I know that the Heat have had their injuries, but it's felt like I don't think the Celtics have had their starting five to start a game yet. Maybe off on that, but like Tatum hasn't played. Smart went down again. Horford and Smart were out game one. They lost. But yeah, I mean, the only game where they've really had their starting five was the game they won, and it was in Miami. So
I also think, though, I guess one of the other things I noted down is this to me kind of feels like some like mid 2000s basketball. Both teams play hard, solid defense up, like at least to the extent that the referees and the rules will allow them to. And you replace the mid-range jumpers with three-pointers. Other than that, you could probably swap the logos in the broadcast, and you could probably play that off as a 2005 game.
Maybe just blur out the images again, because that's what it was like watching a game in 2005.
Yeah, drop the TV down to like 360 pixels.
Right, no more 5K.
8K that we have now.
So who do you think pulls out and wins that series?
Again, it's all health issues. I'm gonna go with Miami just because that's what it seems like, the healthier team. But obviously they tip off, I think, about 10 minutes. Should be a fun game to watch. Hopefully we'll see something entertaining.
Do you think I haven't checked, are Smart or Tatum playing?
I think everyone's playing. Whether or not they're going to be at full strength or whether or not they're going to be in minutes restrictions, I'm not sure.
Yeah, minutes restrictions in the playoffs. What a league. The Tampa Bay had 4 guys go to the locker room after taking 90-mile-an-hour shots to their body, and they came back and played without any question of minutes. Coach said go out there, and they went out there.
That's really nice for them. I'm glad they put their body on the line for about 200,000, the veterans minimum in the NBA.
200,000.
Hey, you know what NBA stands for, right?
You're not wrong. Like Stamkos went off twice and came back.
You know what NBA stands for, right, Connor?
What does it stand for?
Never broke again.
Yeah. What? So okay. So a star in the NBA makes $40 million.
Yep.
A star in the NHL makes, I think he makes 8. He's on a team-friendly deal, but he makes 8.5. So basically, Kevin Durant makes 40. The Kevin Durant alternative is, say, Austin Matthews. He makes a quarter of that. So, yeah.
You want to talk about stars making money. So the last thing I wanted to cover today was the Kylian Mbappe in the world of soccer, a real sport, by the way.
Football.
So the Kylian Mbappe kind of transfer saga type thing, it's finally over. He's going to be staying in Paris. There was speculation for 3-4 years that he'd be coming to my team, Real Madrid. It didn't work out that way, but I'm glad it's over. I think it's the worst transfer saga in history. The amount of news that was spreading, the amount of leaks, the amount of he said, she said, he made his decision, he didn't make his decision, he's going here, he's going there, and for 2 years continuously, it was terrible. But the things that came from it are insane to me. So you want to talk about stars making money? Kylian Mbappe wrote his name down on a contract, and he was paid 300 million euros. he makes his salary is 100 million euros net, which means after French taxes, which I think take 50-60% of your income, he will be making 100 million euros after taxes. That's some insane star power to me. I don't understand it. I don't really know what to say in terms of the financials, but
so I read up on it early only because you mentioned it. I follow soccer, the big topics, World Cup, Champions League. I know who's in it. That's about it.
Yep.
So a couple of questions and comments I have about it. First off, I would from what I read, I would compare this to the LeBron James, the decision when he went to Miami after leaving Cleveland the first time.
Yep. I think that's a really
kind of like the summer of like he said, she said, whispers, and then this very dramatic, all right, I'm doing this kind of thing.
I think that's a pretty good comparison, except with Mbappe, the timeline was stretched much farther than that. And if we're going to be completely honest, LeBron James was the best player in the league at that time. Kylian Mbappe is not the best player in the world. So I think this is a little bit premature. On top of the financials, they gave him some political power. So everyone in the United States likes to joke about lead GM and how he gets to pick his team and he picks his coaches. That's all speculated. This is reported. Like this happened. So Kylian Mbappe is a 23-year-old kid. He gets I don't know about final, but he gets a very strong say on who his coach is going to be, who his sporting director is going to be. So that's effectively kind of your GM in soccer. Mm-hmm. He gets a very final say on who is going to be bought by the team, who's going to be sold by the team, who's going to be playing for the team. I think PSG they threw him absolutely everything they could do, everything they that was in their, like, I guess in their power before actually just giving him the team, like, legally. The things that he has at his disposal at 23 years old to me are absurd. They're things that my team, Real Madrid, were not willing to give. And I mean, it's tough. Again, he's a great player. Would have loved to have seen him play for us, but it's something where no player is bigger than the institution, and this goes for all sports, except the only ever outlier was LeBron James in Cleveland, because that's such a poverty franchise and he was that good. Everything else, I think there's a reason why the team comes first before the player.
Yeah. So a couple of questions.
Yes.
Would you say, so he's playing, he is French, correct?
Yes.
Like originally. So do you think that has anything to do with it?
So it could have something to do with it. Part of those, like, part of the he said, she said rumors that were going around for years was how he grew up a boyhood Real Madrid fan. That was his team. Okay. He grew up watching Zinedine Zidane, then to Cristiano Ronaldo, and like that's kind of half of like where the kind of the Real Madrid interest came from, was that because he was the boyhood club, they felt they had a little bit extra. And then in terms of, I guess, kind of sales pitches, well, I think Real Madrid's success this season, so we play the Champions League final on Saturday. I think our success this season kind of hurt our chances of actually landing him. So these stars are all egomaniacs. They want to be told that they're the reason something's happening, or they're driving the force. And as Real Madrid kept progressing in the Champions League, so we beat PSG in the round of 16. And as we kept progressing round after round, I think every time our sales pitch got weaker. Because when you are 90 minutes away from being crowned the champions of Europe, you can't really then turn around and go to the kid and say, hey, we need you to be champions of Europe, because clearly you don't. We're 90 minutes away from doing it. So to be honest,
he wants to be the guy kind of thing.
To be honest, given the way he played with my emotions, my team emotions, I wish him nothing but the worst. I hope his time at PSG sucks. And I guess just go one more thing to go back to the Real Madrid thing. If you really want to be at a team, you'll do what you need to do to be at a team. So last thing before I kind of wrap this up, Cristiano Ronaldo came out in 2008, and publicly said, after winning a Champions League, so he just won the best thing there is to win at the club level, came out 2 weeks later and said, I'm a slave. I want to be in Madrid. This man, Kylian Mbappe, has been thinking for 3 years. Couldn't make up his mind. So if you really wanted to be here, you would have been here. So I wish you nothing but Champions League exits. I hope he doesn't win anything ever again. And I'd be even more disappointed if in 3 years Real Madrid went back for him.
Would you say that Spanish league is better than the French league?
Oh, the French league sucks.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I guess what last statistic. Kylian Mbappe, with his signing bonus, not even a salary, he can buy 18 of the 20 teams in the French league outright.
Holy crap.
Yeah. It's
it's
a one-team league. One-team league. So
yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, that's all. I think that's all we had for this week. You got something else to add before we wrap it up?
No, man. We're gonna try and get back to you. We're gonna do 2 episodes this week. There's a lot of playoff action. We kind of want to cover individual games a little more, maybe than just some kind of series outlooks like we had to today.
Absolutely.
We're also gonna try at the end, especially into the summer, once there's less playoffs, we're gonna kind of cover those kind of salaries, business caps, more broader ideas in the business of sports. So as always, if you want to hear something from us, hear us talk about something, hear our opinions on something, hear us yell at each other. I know we haven't the first 2 episodes, but I'm sure we will at some point. Just let us know in the comments. Please like, subscribe, share it to your friends. I cannot stress that enough. We really appreciate it. Vladi, anything before we head out today?
So I think you mentioned we kind of want to get a second episode out this week. I think we also kind of maybe want to cover a little bit the NBA draft lottery, some prospects. But again, as Connor just said, if you guys have anything you'd like us to talk about, interact with us, talk to us, let us know what to say, and we can figure out where to go from there. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we will see you guys later this week.
Bolts just scored. Go Bolts, baby. 1-0 over the Panthers. Panthers, you guys are frauds. President Cup, second round exit by a sweep. See you guys.